Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Listen, you go a little back to school shopping, and in the midst of it, boom, get yourself a little NFL bomb in the middle of shopping for some notebooks, pencils, and crayons. Tua Tagovailoa, he finally gets his mega deal. Tua Tagovailoa signs a 4-year, $212.4 million extension. Congratulations to Tua. I mean, this whole drama of the week can be put behind everybody. All of the, is he playing? Is he handing off? Holding in? Holding out? Throwing bombs. One day he's got a ball cap on. Whatever. It is over. And QB1, Oos, gets his money. Happy for Tua. And now the Miami Dolphins can shift their focus into just having a kick-ass season. I got to be honest with you. Look, I'm a little surprised. I was very, very pessimistic when this thing got to camp and it wasn't done. I was like, this thing's not going to get done, is it? So, listen, I'll wear the dum-dum hat on this one for not thinking that and not having faith that it was going to get done. But it just felt like everything was very, very icy, very, very frosty. And I don't know, what changed in the midst of the week, but I'm just happy that it did. I'm happy that it did. I'm happy for this guy getting his money. $167 million in guarantees, according to most reports that are out there right now. More details will trickle in. I'm not really one that really gives a rat's ass too much about that. He did not get the richest contract in the NFL, but he got a very respectable, deserving contract that'll probably get jumped by Jordan Love, will probably get jumped by others. That shit doesn't really matter, though, does it? He is locked into the Miami Dolphins for the next few years in this window. And now for Tua, has the burden, like he is, I think has had in his career to prove that he was worth the number 5 pick. He now has the burden with the richest contract in franchise history. He has to prove now that he can produce where the franchise has backed him. But in the meanwhile, before you get into the doom and gloom of all of that, I'm just super happy for the guy. I've said this in the entirety of his career. First of all, I was a big tank for Tua guy. I spoiled the pick on our radio show draft party. Everybody got very mad at me, but has been just a very, very easy guy to root for. And when I was around the team more and it was covering practices more, it was especially during that time where they were going to be rats off a ship with him. And this dude faced the music every single week, dealt with the scrutiny, dealt with the media, whether he was wanted, whether they were going to believe in him. And it seemed like very much they did not. And some things and weird twists of fate and fortune did go their way. And in a strange way, Brian Flores not believing in him, but ratting out the Miami Dolphins probably kept his Dolphins career going and them not going towards Tom Brady. And instead they get this quirky little offensive genius to go believe in him. And the dude is putting up monster numbers, but not only did he overcome the franchise not necessarily believing in him or not believing in him, but then had to overcome some real physical limitations where he was spiked on his head, had one of the scariest concussions that you've ever seen, had to deal with the cloud of this scandal of the franchise covering up concussions. Was it a back injury? Was it a neck injury? All the while trying to work his way back. He's carted off of a field on Thursday Night Football. We're all wondering, is this guy going to be able to play football for this year? Should he come back? Should he play football anymore? Then he comes back and starts rocking it again for the Miami Dolphins. And then on a damn Christmas game, an innocuous throwdown once again makes the concussions flare up. And what seemed like a season that was going to be a big turning point for his career ends in such disarray and sadness, and you wonder, can this guy play football anymore? Is this guy going to be able to go out there? And not only that, he puts himself in such uncomfortable positions after all of that, goes and takes up a damn martial arts, puts on weight, makes himself durable to the point where he leads the league in passing this year. Yes, there were flaws. There was things that, he still needs to improve upon, but this is still a young player. This is a guy that I do think has the mental fortitude if he has shown anything. The dude has tough as nails, has shown great mental fortitude, and shown an ability to overcome a ton of obstacles in his career where a lot of things were working against him. Comes in with a brutal hip injury, gets a coach who is not very patient, has a starting quarterback who's a show pony, and uses the media against Tua Tagovailoa, tries to paint a narrative that like the locker room is against him when they all really seem to love him, and now has put all that behind him, went and had a great season last year, was able to play 17 games, and now gets himself locked into the richest deal in franchise history. You can do nothing but applaud that, for a young man who works his ass off and, again, has represented himself really, really well throughout his NFL career. And I think has represented the Dolphins. I think, for the people who don't get crazy about on Twitter, I think he's been, one of the more popular Dolphins. I think this has been a as fun a Dolphins offense as I have watched in many, many years. Many, many years. Is it perfect? No. Have they lived up to what you would say are the proper expectations? I will still say no. They still have some hurdles that they must now leap, especially with him paid and this all being the thing. But you see the tweets that are coming out. Jalen Waddle, he goes, big money oos. So his former college and now pro teammate, happy for him. He, of course, also got an extension this offseason. So Waddle, baby Waddle, and the Tua connection will continue to thrive for years. Cheetah puts the big smiley emoji out there on social media. Tyreek Hill's a big story of this too. These guys and their connection has been tremendous. Record seasons. Tyreek Hill's taken a lot of reputation, and you know what? With a lot of the country, even with him watching his 2 years in Miami, his former franchise win 2 Super Bowls, he's gone out there and produced and staked his name to everything that he has put behind Tua, and so it's a wonder why he hasn't gone out there and why he has gone out there and why he is supported him and why he's happy for him. And now we'll see if he gets his little bump in pay. That's kind of I would say that and Javon Holland are like the last 2 pieces of business that the Dolphins really have to take care of. Jalen Phillips, he posts on Instagram, the use is loose. He's making his way on a comeback. This is from the man himself, Tua. He put a statement out through his Instagram and Goat Farm Media. This is the QB after the deal got done.
What's up, guys? Tua here. Got some breaking news for you guys. Although I never break any news, this is the first time for me. Just wanted to say that I agreed to a contract extension with the Miami Dolphins. Just want to give a big shout out to Mr. Ross. Want to thank Chris Greer, Brandon Shore for working endlessly on this deal. Want to thank Mike McDaniel for believing in me. Want to thank all my other coaches as well. I also want to give a big shout out to my teammates for believing in me, for also supporting me throughout this process. And then I also want to thank the fans as well. Fins up.
That's right. Jimmy Buffett's damn trust. It still fins up, you rat finks. Love it. Again, the Mike McDaniel thing is such a big piece of this that the coach he got the job basically on rebuilding this guy after the whole Sean Payton thing fell apart. And then, the teammates have backed him. And then they all came out very, very strong for him publicly while all of this standoff was going on this week, which is also really cool to see. And, and props to Stephen Ross and Chris Greer. They do have and have had a bit of the reputation with the way the Christian Wilkins thing that they have not invested in anybody here. This is a pick that was something. It's been such a weird ride, right? Because this is a guy that everybody and Dolphins really wanted. They kind of tank a season, but then come through and do not get the number 1 overall pick that ends up being for Joe Burrow. But this is the guy that everybody wanted in the first place anyway. And then Justin Herbert, of course, has the rookie year record stat numbers. Everyone puts up, and this guy is right in the crosshairs of all this scrutiny right away. Meanwhile, Fitzpatrick is sitting here boo-hooing all over it. But I think just for this, it's good to see good things happen to guys that are easy to root for. And so Tua getting this deal is really, really great. And And now the pressure's on. Yeah, like and as the story is now nice, now that he has the deal, no fat cat syndrome. No situation of, all right, you're here, and now is the time to wet the bed. Like, it's been seen. Like, the offense stunk without him in practice this week, comes in today, starts throwing bombs, and of course this drops after you get finished recording something. But I think it's going to be cool. I'm excited to be out there on Sunday to see what the fan reaction is to him, and I think everybody now can just put the main thing can now just be, all right, go out there and prove and do what this roster thinks okay. Well, and by the way, I love the talk this week from Calais Campbell that the roster is capable of winning a Super Bowl. Yes, it has its flaws, but there's been a little bit too much of, now the bar is just go win the playoff game. It's like, yeah, that would be nice. And that to me is honestly that's the bare minimum for the Miami Dolphins this year. That's a bare minimum season. This is still a roster that has a lot of money invested into it, has a lot of high profile veterans, now has a $200 million quarterback. Hey, if you that's the bare minimum, is snapping that 24-year losing streak. To hell with that. Like, this is still an organization that needs to go do and win big and do some real things. It's enough of the bullshit, man. It really is. So you're happy for him, celebrate, enjoy it. For him, his family, everybody who's put in that work, really, really great to see. Really, really great to see. Really, really cool. And now, by the way, right before I got on here to record, my standoff has ended, and I have ended my holdout. And I took the brave stance through all of this over the summer. I unfollowed the Dolphins on Instagram and Twitter, or X. And finally, after a long standoff, I could happily say I can now follow the teams again, because I enjoy their content. I'm not gonna lie. I snuck a peek at that guess your teammate tweets. That was a great video. But the standoff is over. I am now back following the Miami Dolphins on Instagram and X. I feel complete again. I feel whole. Feel happy for Tua, happy for the Dolphins, and excited to see Sunday, man. Excited to see the fans give him a rousing response. Should be fun, and hopefully this leads to a real kick-ass season.